The iconic San Siro stadium is set to be replaced. Football fans lamented the news that Inter and AC Milan's famous old ground will be making way for a futuristic new 60,000-seat ground close by. The iconic San Siro stadium in Milan is set to be demolished, with Inter and AC Milan to build a new home close by. At the weekend, Tottenham finally opened the doors on their £850 million stadium, and in recent years, clubs across Europe have been looking at whether they need to renovate or replace their homes to lead them into the future. Arsenal opened the Emirates in 2006, while Manchester City and Liverpool both increased capacity at their stadiums. Chelsea had plans to demolish Stamford Bridge and replace it with a £1 billion design, but have been shelved as Roman Abramovich battles visa issues. Across Europe and the world, teams are building massive new venues with ever-increasing capacities. And it's not just limited to football, with giant new cricket and NFL stadiums to be opened in the next couple of years. Here we run through the biggest and best new stadiums set to open in the coming years. Nou Camp, Barcelona. As if Barcelona's home wasn't big enough, the biggest stadium in Europe is set to get even bigger in 2022, with the club set to splash more than £500 million to modernize the famous ground. As well as getting a facelift inside and out, the new Nou Camp will finally have a roof. Capacity will also be increased to a whopping 105,000. But they are not the only plans for the site, with renovations including a new 6,000-seat stadium, named after Johan Cruyff, for Barca B. There will also be a 12,000-seat indoor arena for their popular basketball, handball, futsal, ice hockey and volleyball teams. Amazing footage of how Barcelona's space-age stadium will look. Barcelona will increase the Nou Camp's capacity to 105,000. The £500 million redevelopment will also include a new roof and will be ready in 2022. Grande Stade de Casablanca, Morocco. Two Casablanca football clubs will share the massive new stadium, which will also house the Moroccan national team. Raja Casablanca and Wydad Casablanca will now boast arguably the best stadium in all of Africa, when the 93,000-seat venue arrives in 2025. The stadium was initially an idea when Morocco bid for the 2010 World Cup, which eventually went for South Africa, and was then another venue when they bid for the 2026 World Cup. Morocco is hoping it'll be third time lucky for the stadium. The country is set to launch a joint bid for the 2030 World Cup with Spain and Portugal. 360 architecture, SONARGES. The Grande Stade de Casablanca will be the stunning new home of Moroccan football. 360 architecture, SONARGES. The 93,000-seat stadium will be part of a bid for the 2030 World Cup. LUSAIL iconic stadium, Qatar. The stadium that will see the next world champions crowned in 2022. This stadium, designed by British architects Foster Partners, will host the World Cup final in Qatar. It's still being built but is expected to be completed in sometime next year. After the tournament, there are plans to reduce the stadium from 89,000 down to 20,000. Parts of the building will be repurposed as a community space with shops, cafes, as well as healthcare and athletic facilities. The Lusail iconic stadium will be the venue for the final of the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. When the tournament ends, the venue's capacity will be reduced from 89,000 to 20,000. Santiago Bernabeu, Madrid. Not to be outdone by their bitter rivals, Real Madrid are also planning to renovate and modernize their famous home. However, unlike Barcelona, Real will not see an increase to the 81,044 capacity. Instead, the £500 million project will see the outside of the stadium given a sleek new look as well as a fully retractable roof being installed. The height of the ground will be raised by 10 meters, with an American-style jumbotron mounted for installation that will give fans a 360-degree view of the action. The private and executive boxes are also set to be improved. Real Madrid will not increase their capacity when they redevelop the Bernabeu for £500 million. It will have a fully retractable roof and a sleek new exterior. New National Stadium, Japan. Another stadium that cost in excess of £1 billion, the Tokyo Stadium will be the home of next summer's Olympic Games. There have been consistent problems with the venue, however. It was originally intended to be used for the Rugby World Cup this year but will not be finished in time. Demolition of the old stadium started in early 2015, but original plans were scrapped by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe after public outcry over spiraling costs. After a rebidding process slowed construction, the venue will now be ready in November. During the Olympics, capacity will temporarily be 80,000, but that will be reduced after the Games. It will then be used by the Japanese national football team, with capacity set to 68,000. The National Stadium in Tokyo, Japan, will be ready for the 2020 Summer Olympics. It was also supposed to host the 2019 Rugby World Cup but has been hit with delays. Los Angeles Stadium at Hollywood Park, USA. The stadium is part of a mass redevelopment in Los Angeles which has cost an eye-watering £4 billion. Set to open in 2020, the venue will certainly get its fair share of use in the coming years. It will be the home of two NFL teams, the Los Angeles Rams and Los Angeles Chargers, meaning it will be in weekly use every week between September and at least December. Super Bowl 56 in February 2022 is slated to be held at the ground, as is the College Football Playoff National Championship a year later. For the 2028 Summer Olympics, the opening and closing ceremonies will be held at the ground, as well as the football tournament. It was left out of the bidding process for the 2026 World Cup, but the organizing committee will likely use the stadium when they re-evaluate stadium selection. It will host 70,240 spectators during NFL but can be increased to 100,240 during special events such as the Olympics, Super Bowl and World Cup. The Los Angeles Stadium is part of a £4 billion redevelopment of Hollywood Park. The stadium will be the home of two NFL teams and will host the Super Bowl, Olympic Games and World Cup matches in the next decade. Puskás Arena, Budapest. The new home of the Hungarian national football team will be one of the most impressive venues in Europe when it opens at the end of the year. It'll likely get 5-star status from UEFA and FIFA, meaning it will be able to host major European finals. The stadium could be the home of the 2021 Champions League final. Seating 67,889, the arena will also host 3 group stage games and one last 16 match at the Pan-European Euro 2020. The Puskás Arena in Budapest, Hungary, will be one of the most advanced stadiums in Europe and will have a 5-star FIFA rating. It is expected to host the 2021 Champions League final and 4 matches at Euro 2020. Feyenoord City, Rotterdam. Since 2006, the Dutch Giants have been considering plans for a new stadium, but have faced several different changes of direction. They initially decided on a new 85,000-seat stadium, but then decided to redevelop their current ground, adding a roof. However, Feyenoord changed their mind again in 2016 and decided to build a completely new venue, on a stunning location next to the new Maas River. Dubbed Feyenoord City, the development is expected to start in 2019 and be ready for the 2022-23 season. The capacity will be 63,000. Feyenoord have gone back and forth over plans for their new home. The Dutch Giants were going to remodel their old home but decided on building a new 63,000-seat stadium. Bramley-Moore Dock Stadium, Liverpool. Everton are planning to build a massive new stadium within the Liverpool World Heritage Site on the docks. The Toffees have been searching for a new home for years, with nothing coming of proposed moves to King's Dock and Kirkby, as well as a potential ground share with Liverpool at Stanley Park. In November 2017, the club agreed a 200-year lease for the docks, and some work has started on roads leading into the ground. But there has been little news on what the stadium may eventually look like, with only leaked images appearing on social media. Everton's new ground is expected to cost around £500 million, but there is no time frame on when it might be ready. It will also have 52,000 seats, which could be increased to 60,000 if needed. The leaked images also claim the venue will be ready in 2023, with room for up to 15,000 safe standing seats. Leaked images have shown how Everton's new 52,000-seat stadium could look at the moment. Minimal work has started on the dock area with no official plans yet released. New Milan Stadium. Milan news that the famous San Siro stadium will be demolished was met with sadness by football fans. The 80,018 ground, built with iconic swirling pillars in 1925, is one of the most memorable designs in the world. Over the years it has hosted 9 World Cup matches across 2 tournaments, 3 games at Euro 1980 and 4 European Cup finals. Some of the world's most famous artists have also played at the venue, with Bob Marley, Bob Dylan, David Bowie, the Rolling Stones and Madonna among those to have performed there. Much like Juventus, the new Milan Stadium will have a much smaller capacity but with much better views and full modernization. The new ground will lose about 20,000 seats from the San Siro and will have its naming rights sold for about £20 million per year. It is expected to be ready in 2023. Fans were sad the iconic San Siro will be destroyed, but the new stadium will have an equally eye-catching design. Inter and AC Milan will share costs on the new 60,000-seat venue Stadio della Roma. The same architect behind the plans for Everton's new ground, is already in the midst of building this new stadium for Roma. The 52,000-seat stadium, however, has faced numerous difficulties during the construction process because of alleged corruption. At least 9 people have been arrested in relation to the building of the ground, which is currently delayed. There is no opening date at the moment. The venue was set to be located next to the Tiber River, south of the Eternal City, but a proposal has been made to move it back more central, as creating new transport and access could see costs spiral. The Stadio della Roma is set for construction on the Tiber River, but the 52,000-seat venue has been locked in a corruption scandal with at least 9 people related to its construction arrested. New Sardar Patel Stadium, India. The massive new cricket ground is the biggest stadium set to be built in the next decade. Located in Ahmedabad, it will hold 110,000 people, and will become the new home of the Indian cricket team as well as stateside Gujarat. It will become the second biggest stadium in the world, behind only the Mayday Stadium in North Korea, 114,000. Built on the same site as the old ground, which held 49,000 people, the previous building was demolished in 2015. It is being built by Populous, the same firm that built the Emirates, Wembley Stadium and the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The ground is expected to open in 2020. The new home of Indian cricket will become the world's second biggest sporting stadium. The Ahmedabad ground will hold 110,000 people in one that might not get made. Bad news for Chelsea fans. The political tension between